January 23rd, 1943. You are an American soldier leaving for an unknown destination on a secret mission in World War II. The ship taking you is the USAT Dorchester. 901 men accompany you. Tensions are high. Danger is imminent. The captain orders everyone to sleep fully clothed, including coats and life jackets. Because of the sweltering heat in the bows of the ship, most disregard that order. On February 2nd, 1943, your journey is almost complete. German U-boats prowl the North Atlantic in groups known as the Wolfpacks. A search for these underwater enemies is ongoing. You are only 8 hours away from your secret destination, Greenland. A U-boat is detected. You are being stalked. Suddenly, at 12:55 a.m., when most of those around you are asleep, the wolf strikes. The USAT Dorchester is torpedoed by a German U-boat, the U-223. A hole is ripped in the side of the Dorchester. She has less than 25 minutes to live. Chaos ensues. Boiler power is lost. The ship is plunged into absolute darkness. You rush to the top deck only to face the stunning reality. Hundreds are without life jackets or proper clothing in the 34-degree weather. Lifeboats are frozen in the davits. Only 2 make it into the water. But even in the middle of death and disaster, 4 men do the unthinkable. A Catholic priest, a Jewish rabbi, a Methodist minister, and a Dutch Reformed preacher. The 4 men met at Camp Miles Standish in 1942. And they attended chaplain school in Harvard together. John Washington was born in Newark, New Jersey in 1908. He was ordained a Catholic priest in 1935. He volunteered as a military chaplain in 1941. Alex Good was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1911. He was ordained a Jewish rabbi in 1937. He volunteered as a military chaplain in 1941. George Fox was born in Lewistown, Pennsylvania in 1900. He served as a soldier in World War I. After the war, he became a Methodist preacher. He volunteered as a military chaplain in 1941. Clark Poling was born in Columbus, Ohio in 1910. He graduated from the Yale Divinity School in 1936. He then became the pastor of the Dutch Reformed Church. He volunteered as a military chaplain in 1941. In January of 1943, the chaplains were assigned to the USAT Dorchester. After being struck by the torpedo on February 3, 1943, the Dorchester had only 25 minutes to live. Yet even then, the 4 chaplains leapt into action, handing out life jackets to those who had none. And when the last life jacket was handed out, there were still men who had none. That is when each chaplain did the unthinkable. Each one took off his own life jacket and handed it to a soldier who didn't have one.
The transport Dorchester set forth upon her dangerous mission north. Grim winter rode the seas with her, and cold and grey the sky. There were 4 men of God aboard, to do the service of the Lord, to share the life of fighting men, and strive them must they die. 4 chaplains, Catholic and Jew, and Protestants by chance were 2, Poling and Fox and Washington and Alexander Good. 4 men of God, enough to say who questions which was which today. 4 men of God who shared the dream of worldwide brotherhood. They did not preach the narrow way, they lived with men from day to day. They understood their smiles and tears, their every joy and care. The human heart they understood, found in the worst a share of good, and tried to do for God those deeds which men beseech in prayer. The Dorchester's clean decks they trod, 4 gracious, humble men of God, who served both braid and dungaree as though they were the same, who never questioned post or place, religion, color, caste, or race, of any who in earnest need of aid or comfort came. Aye, there were times when faith alone called each to worship with his own, when rabbi, priest, and minister knelt down with one in grief, and times when each would draw apart, to comfort many a lonely heart, or strengthen at the battle's eve some faltering boy's belief. But one must ask the question, who was Catholic, Protestant, or Jew, unless the holy vessels on the altar had been laid? For in the ship's life weal and woe there was no outer sign to show that form of worship, rite, or prayer the slightest difference made. Below the waters, cold and green, within a German submarine, a youthful listening sailor stirred. The sound of moving ship he'd heard. He rose and to his captain spoke. A periscope the surface broke. The captain turned it left and right, and peering through the slotted sight, he waited for the ship to pass across his little field of glass. The Dorchester came into view. To battle stations went the crew. Fire 1 was ordered, then fire 2. From tubes shot out with flaming breath went 2 shrewd instruments of death. Controlled by many a wise device, they sped upon a course precise to sink their targets, ship and men. Good, said the captain. Down again. Upon the decks of ships are chests, in which are lifebelts stored, against the time when men must trust themselves into the sea. At such a chest each chaplain stayed, to calm and hearten boys afraid, and pass them belts to hold them up till rescued they could be. But some too frightened were to leap, they would not risk the raging deep, convinced that death awaited all who ventured overside. Trust God, they heard the chaplain say, trust God and go, it's death to stay. And thus was many a youngster saved who otherwise had died. No talk of Catholic or Jew, no question Protestant are you, but this, your belt, God keep you safe, no sign of interfere. 4 humble men of God, just then in peril with their fellow man, who dared to keep the faith they taught when death was drawing near. Then when the last lifebelt was gone, and still were others who had none, here, said each chaplain of the sea, take mine, your life 'twill spare. And with this last brave service done, they stood together 4 as one, and linked their arms and bowed their heads and spoke a final prayer. From bow to stern the vessel shook, those in the sea who turned to look, just as the ship went down beheld 4 men of God who stood, arms linked together and at prayer. 4 men of God undaunted there, who dared to die for their belief in ties of brotherhood. Oh, there are times when hate and strife stain all that's best in human life, when bitterness so fills men's hearts that hatred seems their trade. But against war's horror, filth and crime will shine for all remaining time the glory of united faiths which 4 brave men displayed.